So, welcome to my new podcast, Tamara Talks. Hello, all you glorious people. I'm going to assume most of you are my Insta fam that have come over from Instagram, and you're probably wondering where the hell I have been and what the hell is going on here. Well, obviously, I am starting a new podcast. I actually did a podcast quite a few years back, but it never went anywhere. Let me not get into that now, but this has been a long time coming, and I think I've been putting this off for so long that I don't know, it's just got to the point where I know I have to do this. In fact, the universe has basically bullied me into this podcast, so I'm kind of here under duress, but I know I need to be here. So if I don't seem very happy and you're wondering what the hell is wrong with me, well, I'm about to tell you what the fuck is wrong with me. But this is kind of why I've started this podcast as well, because I do believe women my age, those of us who are approaching 40, nearly 40, around that sort of age, we're all suffering with some seriously crazy shit and nobody's fucking talking about it. And that is the peri-menopause. And I'm going to start with that because this is kind of how I've ended up here. If you don't know me from Instagram, I am not Dr. Tamara. I have been on Instagram maybe for the last, it's been a long time. I'm going to say about 7-8 years. Just kind of, I don't even know what you'd call me, maybe like a mindset coach, I don't know. I'm really into the law of attraction. I've always just tried to help people understand that their mindset is actually what creates their reality. And, you know, if you can get control of your mind, you can basically do anything you want and bend this shit to your will, right? Well, at least that's what I thought anyway. In fact, no, that is how life goes. But when you can't think properly, it doesn't go so well. Anyway, I've basically made a living for the last however many years from doing this whole Not Dr. Tamara thing. And like my whole life is basically coming and cheering you guys up, giving you some sort of, I don't know, positivity, motivation, inspiration, whatever. So you can go on and, I don't know, live the great life you deserve. So that's what I've been doing for the last few years. However, the last, I'm going to say maybe, I don't know, 18 months, maybe even 2 years if I am honest, I have not been okay. My life has been falling slowly further and further into the gutter, or at least that's what it feels like. I am not the woman I used to be, or the woman I thought I was. Well, it's like I am, but I'm not. I don't feel like her a lot anymore. And everything, well, just like everything, my whole being and everything I knew is just fucking collapsed around me. And my life has kind of turned into a shit show, to be quite frank. And I have felt far too embarrassed and stupid to even come to the internet and be like, hey guys, this is something positive for you to do today. Let's focus on your mindset, because mine's just not fucking working, and I'm just not feeling very not Dr. Tamara-y. And what's crazy is saying fuck my life. I have literally gone from being the woman who has everything together and the woman who, you know, I've got 5 children if you don't know. I homeschool my children. I run businesses, like my own businesses, by myself. I do everything. I am literally the woman that can, or I was the woman that could. And lately I'm just the woman who fucking can't be bothered, can't be asked, can't give a fuck about anything. And honestly, it's just fucked me sideways. And like I said, I have been feeling too embarrassed to come to the internet and try and tell you guys anything, because I'm like, well, that's not you, is it? You're not living that, and you're not even capable of that. And I just feel like a complete and utter fraud. And honestly, it has made whatever the fuck it is I'm going through feel 600,000 million times worse. So if you're wondering where I've been, it's just I've been trying to avoid a nervous breakdown, basically. Anyway, I have been going through some shit. The last few years have not been very good. And back to this whole positivity thing, most of you know, like, I'm really into the universe, like how some people are like really into Jesus and stuff. Like, I'm really into the universe. We have a great relationship. I love the universe. It supports me. Everything is fucking awesome, right? But a few years back, my best friend's daughter, she passed away, and I don't even want to get into that now but that just kind of broke my world. Because, I don't know, I'd had so much faith and love and genuine, like, just pure love for the universe, thinking it was like this great thing. And do you know what? I've been through some shit in my life. I've had trauma. I've been through some terrible things I wouldn't wish on anybody. But watching her go through that just left me with a real feeling of, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Why even the fuck is this? Like, what? And I was so angry at the fucking universe. Like, so angry. I'm just like, I don't know. And I think that's where like the breakdown of that love the universe kind of thing kind of just started. Anyway, things over the last couple of years, I don't know, have just been getting worse and worse and worse. And I think that kind of really changed my mindset, because I was like, I don't want to be positive. I don't want to pray and ask a universe that I think is quite frankly fucking evil for things that quite frankly don't fucking mean anything. Like everything just became very pointless, and I don't know, I just didn't see the point in many things. And I think that was the start of when my mindset just started to shift to a place that is not a very good place. Anyway, so like maybe like the last 18 months, I don't even know where to start to tell you what has been wrong with me, but when I tell you I have just lost energy, I have lost the will to give a fuck. I've lost the will to live half the time, if I'm not fucking, I'll be fucking honest. Like, and I don't know, I've just not been okay. I haven't, all the things that I care about and all the things that I'm very good at, I just haven't been able to care about, and I haven't been very good at. And I feel like I have been losing my mind, and it's been a real dark time. Anyway, I've obviously been trying to hold everything together. Most of you would have noticed I don't do much with Not Dr. Tamara anymore. Try and keep my NYN together. And quite honestly, that's been keeping me alive. So grateful for that. But it's just got to the point now where we've just had this Mercury retrograde. Now, I know most of you know what a Mercury retrograde is, and I also know we're in, for the sake of, if you might be watching this later on down the line, we are in September of 2024, and we have just come out of like probably like the strongest, worst Mercury retrograde we have ever fucking had in our life. For me personally, it was really hard, and I don't actually know anybody who wasn't suffering greatly with that. And I don't know, it was a really hard time. But for me personally, it near on fucking pushed me over the edge, if I'm really fucking honest. And I ended up going to the doctors, and I don't know, speaking to them made me realise that this perimenopause, because somebody mentioned the perimenopause to me before. My best friend, she's fantastic, Layla, at Take a Day, she's a herbalist. I'm going to leave her details in wherever I write about this podcast, because she's a good person to check out. She sells like herbal boxes and stuff that you can like make your own herbs and just kind of become your own medicine woman. She does some really cool stuff. But she had said to me when I was telling her how I was feeling a little while ago, like maybe a perimenopausal, and I was like, bitch, please, I'm 39. Like it wasn't even on my radar, so wasn't a thing. But like I said, going through this last couple of weeks, this Mercury retrograde, things have been particularly bad, and I think the reason I was always so good at being Not Dr. Tamara is because I know struggle. I know what it is to have a fucking bad day. I know what it is to wish you never fucking woke up. But I also know what it is to like get through that. And I've always got through that. Like, might be a struggle or with like tears streaming down my face or whatever, but I will always get through shit. But anyway, my friend had said to me about perimenopause, and I was like, no, don't be so fucking stupid. And now I've gone to the doctors, and they're like, well, actually, this can happen, you know, up to 10 years before you hit the menopause. It can last for 10 years. It can do all these things. Anyway, let me just quickly tell you what the perimenopausal symptoms are, just to see if maybe you relate, because this is the thing about this. Like, not only was I in denial, before that, I didn't have any knowledge of it. I didn't even know the perimenopause was a fucking thing. Like, it sounds like a bloody sauce at Nando's. Anyway, but these are the symptoms that comes with it, right? It's mood changes, changes in sexual desire, trouble concentrating or with memory, headaches, night sweats, hot flashes, vaginal dryness, trouble with sleep. Now, for me, the mood changes has probably been the greatest effect. We all know I'm a little bit batshit crazy, but I have no patience. It's almost like I have no strength. Like, the craziest things will make me cry and have a fucking breakdown, to the point where it's almost like I float up out of myself and I'm like, bitch, are you okay? Fucking sort it out. Like, it's like I don't even know myself. I don't even recognise myself. It's just been terrible. The changes in sexual desire, like, honestly, full transparency, the last time I had sex was on a mountain in Turkey 2 years ago. I have no desire to have sex with fucking anybody, and this is kind of, my host stages were strong, yeah. So that in itself is quite wild, that I'm just I wouldn't even say I'm completely off sex. My vibrator gets charged regularly, but I don't know, that desire certainly has lessened. This whole thing with the trouble concentrating and memory, I think I fucking demonstrated that that's affecting me. But it's almost like I cannot. But I homeschool the kids, so I'm supposed to plan all this shit and do all this shit. Do you think I can even fucking form the correct thoughts to plan all the shit? Things have got so bad. Like, I am seriously considering putting my children in school. And I don't know. Do you know what? I meant to start this podcast by saying, in fact, I should probably film a disclaimer at the fucking beginning and end of all of them. But I meant to say, please consider this comedy. And please don't use anything I ever say as evidence. None of it can be used as evidence in a court of law, alright? I'm basically just a crazy woman spilling my fucking beans on the internet in hope to not only fucking help some other people understand how they're feeling. Genuinely, this is a little bit selfish because I'm just hoping that by getting some of this off my chest, I'm going to start to feel better. And because you know what it's like if something terrible's happening to you, it sounds terrible to say, but if you kind of know it's happening to other people, you're like, oh, thank God it's not only me. So I'm just hoping I can find some peri-menopausal buddies along the way. And like I said, make a fuck ton of cash, let me be real, because these knees are not what they were. I don't think I can become a stripper. I can't actually sell my kidneys because I need them. And well, podcasting's my only option right now. So, but this trouble concentrating thing and this memory thing is just not a fucking joke. It's almost like my mind's not minded. Like this, for instance. So like, I make content. Basically, that's what I've been doing for however many years. Like, this to me is very natural. I am, if anything, I'm the most capable of. This is what I'm the most capable of. This has taken me so long just to sit down and do this. Just do this first. It took me, I can't even, too much fucking time, to the point where I'm in such a pickle. I really should have been doing this, but it's like I can't get my brain to work. And this is why I ended up going to the doctors, because I said to him, I've got businesses to run, I've got children to look after, I've got children to homeschool. I just don't have time to be this fucking physically demented, if not physically demented, like mentally demented. Like, it's not working for me. Anyway, so definitely having problems with the whole bloody concentrating and memory thing. The headaches thing is wild because I have never actually suffered with headaches in my life, but the last couple of months I've been getting these crazy headaches and I've been popping paracetamol because I'm just like, well, I don't have time for a headache either, and I don't like taking paracetamol, but I really don't like having a headache. So that is certainly affecting me. The night sweats and the hot flashes. Do you know what's really funny? I went to the doctors and he was like, do you get hot flashes? I was like, no, I'm so lucky that actually hasn't affected me. And then like 3 days later, I was on my period and I realised I'm hot flashing all day. I had this party and I'm stood there with a paper plate at this fucking party. The whole party just like this, fan. I couldn't stop it. You know when sometimes like you overexert yourself and you just come over all sweaty for a minute and you get really hot, but then you cool down? It's like that, but it never fucking ends. And it's wild because I don't think I even realised it had been happening. Because again, you associate this shit with shit that might happen when you're like 50 or 60, not when you're 39. Anyway, so that's another tick off the fucking list. Vaginal dryness. I mean, this is the internet. How much do I really want to tell you about the moisture in my vagina? I don't. In fact, let me be real. The moisture levels in my vagina, they're quite all right. But I think that's because I take my supplements and look after myself in that fashion. But yeah, my vagina's good. But the trouble with sleep thing, I must say that is one of the only things I've actually managed to master. But I think that's because my sleep was getting so fucked up. Everyone who knows me is always like, oh, you're autistic, you've got ADHD. I personally don't think I have, but I do have some of the traits that people might associate with, or people associate with those things. So it's like, I've only ever really slept like 4 or 5 hours a night. And I've always been fine with it, but I know you're supposed to sleep a little bit longer. Anyway, when I started my kind of like trying to lose a bit of weight journey months and months ago, I started taking magnesium because I know magnesium is really good any stage of your life. Like, most of us are lacking magnesium, right? So I started taking magnesium and I started taking it before bed. And I just started having the best sleeps. Actually, that's the tell a lie. I should tell this story properly because it was the second time around. The first time around I started taking magnesium before bed, I had such crazy dreams I couldn't take it. I don't like dreaming. I feel like it's a waste of my fucking sleep. What do you mean I went to sleep and then I went somewhere else and then I had to just run away from dragons? Like, how was that fucking that's not resting? So I've never really liked dreaming, so I stopped taking them. But then I started taking another supplement And for whatever, I was reading how it's good to take magnesium with it. So I was like, right, I'm going to try it again. And I think that other thing that I was taking, teamed with the magnesium, I've been having such great sleeps, and I've actually been sleeping 7 hours a night. It's like a fucking miracle. I've never, even as a child, I don't think I slept that long. I remember being young and get sent to bed at 7 o'clock, and I'd still be fucking up at 22 and 23. I've always like, the numbers have always stood out to me. And then remembering that these are the hours I was awake at, I'm like, you never really slept. So I think that's one of the tics I don't have is the trouble with sleeping, but mainly because I've been taking the magnesium. Also, smokes a lot of weed, eats a lot of edibles. So yeah, I'm quite good with the sleep. But I mean, fuck that. The fact, you know, the mood changes, the not being able to concentrate and all of that other stuff, it's like, it's actually become disabling to me. Not to the point where I've become completely useless. Don't get me wrong, shit gets done, but it's such a struggle. Like, I'm like wanting to just cry throughout the whole day. I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I get through breakfast and I'm like, I can't do lunch. And then I somehow make lunch. And I'm like, I can't do dinner. And I somehow make dinner. And I don't know. Do you want to know how I knew things were going very bad in my life? And it's mad 'cause it's September now, but December of last year, when they do like the end of year roundups, I somehow made it into Just Eat's top 5% of spenders in the UK. Not in my little town where I live, in the whole of fucking England. Me, not even a millionaire, not even really got that much money. I made it into the top 5% of the the Just Eat spenders. Do you know how embarrassing that was? That was so fucking embarrassing. And not only embarrassing, just fucking literally shameful. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm surprised my children haven't actually turned into fried chicken. Anyway, point is, I don't know what the point is. Point is, I'm always seeking an answer, and I think I wanted to start this podcast because I'm like, fuck me, I see so many people going through this. Even down to, does anyone watch Strippers Selling Houses or Selling Sunset or whatever the fuck it's called on Netflix? There's a couple of women on there that, if like, I've obviously watched this over the years, and you can really see how they are starting to change. It's like they're more wild, they're more erratic, they're crying, they're this, they're that. And the thing is, everyone around them's kind of looking at them like they're crazy pictures. But in actuality, I can just see now, I'm like, oh my God, they're perimenopausal. It's like when everybody started getting diagnosed with ADHD and autism. It's almost like I can see it in everybody but myself. But like, I can see it now. I can see how, you know, even like a lot of people I follow on Instagram, people start acting. A lot of you are probably like, oh, Tamara's moving a bit different. She's not like how she was. No, I'm fucking not. I'm really not. And it's like, I'm not okay. But I think it's funny actually, going to doctors was terrible. I obviously couldn't tell it like, hi, I'm not Dr. Tamara. But I was just like, I was literally just waiting there bursting in tears. I was like, I'm so embarrassed and ashamed to be here. Like, I basically make my living from not going to the fucking doctors and being okay and being able to like sort myself out. But do you know what the mad thing was? How I fucking managed this, I don't know. But somehow I managed to align myself with like the most fucking woke doctor in the NHS. He was impeccable. The way he spoke to me and the way he was, I feel like if all the doctors were like that, we wouldn't have any fucking problems. Sadly, they're not. And I do just think like the universe is desperately trying to get me to fucking hold on to life. But he was just so lovely. And he started talking to me about HRT because he's convinced that this is all perimenopause. And he started talking to me about HRT. And he said to me, he was like, look, and this is why, do you know what the mad thing is? This is kind of why I wanted to start the podcast. Because I was like, well, this is shit I just don't know. This is just stuff we just don't know. And we should have knowledge of. Anyway, so he said to me, he said, listen, my colleagues, he said, they're really well-meaning. He said, but they're going to, just long story short, I went to like an emergency doctor at the weekend. So it's not my normal doctor. I don't even have a normal doctor because we moved 5 years ago and I never bothered getting a new one. But went to the doctor and it was like an emergency sort of one. It's like on the weekend. So it was not out of hours, but out of a point is, I knew I wasn't going to see this man again. And he knew he wasn't going to see me again. And he just said to me, he was like, look, my colleagues are really well-meaning, but they're going to offer you HRT. He said, however, there are different types. And he said, and he made me write this down. He said, there is one type called body identical hormones. And he said, you need to push for that. And when he started to explain to me what it was, because I'm against HRT. I didn't go to the doctors to get HRT. I went to the doctors to find out what the fuck is wrong with me. But I always had in the back of my mind that I wouldn't take HRT because I see how it fucks some women up. And I just feel like that's not really helping. So, but then he started to explain to me about these body identical hormones, where basically they derive these hormones or whatever the fuck this stuff is from wild yam, right? He said to me, he was like, it's all plant derived. I was like, plant, yeah, NHS, all right. But it's like derived from this wild yam. And I think, if I remember what he said correctly, they make it specifically for whatever whatever it is that you need. Sorry, I'm gassy. This is another thing as well, I'm gassy. I have not been gassy since I was probably a fucking baby. Like, I feel like I need someone to wind me. Fuck my life. Anyway, what was I even saying? Lost my fucking train of thought again, didn't I? The body identical hormones. Basically, they derive it from the wild yam, and then they make it for you. Like, they look at your blood, they're like, right, she needs this, this, and this, and they make it for you. They tailor it for you, basically. And I'm like, and I was like, that's wild, because there's not much you could give me from the doctors that I would take. Really, there is not much. But that plant-derived fucking body identical hormones, yes please, sign me the fuck up. This must be the equivalent to like getting a free boob job off the NHS or something. I don't know, but it sounds really good to me. Anyway, so I am currently awaiting blood test results. It's not even like I've got anything great to tell you, but I don't know, in other aspects of life, I think the mad thing is, this has affected my mental health and my mindset so much that it's literally affected my ability to make money, if that makes any sense. Or I think that's what's happened. Or everything and my business has gone so south because the universe wants me to do this. And it's funny actually, because I filmed this test podcast, right, the other day, and obviously I couldn't get these timings if I'd even tried, right? I'm just yapping and it's just going. And so I've obviously filmed it on my camera, and when I stopped the filming, it was 15:55. It was only it's just a little short test. It was at 15:55, and I just knew those fives were like a really good fucking sign. And when I looked at the computer, I've got there's like a clicky thing on here, right, that like counts along. It finished on 444.4, right? And I was like, okay, universe. Now, bear in mind, before this, the reason I had been pushed into this is because, I'm not gonna lie, look, most of you know my baby, NYN. The recession has kind of been kicking its butt, like really kicking its butt. And we had some dark days, and we were like 4 days no sales, right? And it had been dark. That's not happened since I fucking started it like 10 years ago. Like, times have not been okay. So we're like 4 days no sale, and the voice in my head's going, start the podcast. And I'm like, I need something, like, but my head was like, start the podcast anyway. So I fucking did it under duress. It's funny actually. I feel I'm probably never going to put it out, but I did it. And afterwards, I opened my sales dashboard for NYN, and there was £111 sales, and this is after 4 days of no sale and me only filming a 15-minute podcast, like, because I had checked it before. So £111 on the dot, not a penny over, not a penny less. And I was like, I just fucking knew that was the universe. Like, bitch, I know you hate me right now, but like, please, could you just listen to me and get on with this? And so I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I know I'm supposed to be here, but I don't really want to be, because like I said, my mind is just not what it was. But back to the doctors, he kind of made me feel a bit better. He kind of made me feel like, not only am I not alone, like, this is actually normal, even though it feels like anything but normal. Like, we are all going to go through this stage probably. Actually, maybe not all of us. This is interesting. I spoke to my mum and I was like, how was yours? And she just said, actually, she sailed through it. She didn't get any symptoms. I'm like, bitch. Anyway, she's had no symptoms, but she also had been on the pill. Now, I took the pill a little bit when I was younger, and I never took it again, because when I had my second child and I went back on the pill, it literally sent me insane. I was suicidal within like 3 days of taking this shit. So I've never been on the pill, don't want to be on the pill. But my mum's always been on the pill, and she said she didn't really get any symptoms. And I think this is because when I was talking to the doctor, he said it's your progesterone levels. He said they drop like quite a fair bit, and with it, your fucking everything else drops, right? Excuse me. So I had spoke to my mum, and she was like, well, I've taken that, and I think that has actually kept her progesterone levels at such a level, like such a good place, that she's not feeling all of the things. Whereas my levels, like, I've not taken any pills, I'm not taking anything like that. And again, not being aware of it, I haven't done anything about it, and they have just I am just not myself. Anyway, so I guess this podcast is going to be my journey back to fucking good mental health. And not even just good mental health, like a good mindset. Like it got to a stage a little while ago, like I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at my own, you know, my stuff on Instagram, my not so, and I'm like, I'd punch this bitch, you know, like she's so fucking positive and annoying. Like honestly, I'm pissing myself off. And I know that is the worst place to be, because even though I don't feel like it, and even though the universe done pissed off my whole fucking life, I do know a sunny, positive, can-do attitude actually will save your life, and it will make your life, literally make or break your life. And I think that's why, I don't know, I wanted to come and do this, because it's almost like I can't share this misery with everybody like that. And I'm so bored of myself. And I'm like, have you ever been like that, when you're just annoyed at yourself? Like, I know this depression and this sadness and this rage and all of this shit that I am feeling is not actually mine, you know, and I'm not so much in control of it, but it's just, I don't know, this has been the hardest mindset to shift for me ever. And I don't know, I guess we could try and do it together. Anyway, so this podcast, I don't actually know where it's going to go, to be honest. It's not all going to be about the peri-menopause, because quite frankly, that's fucking boring. Okay, I do have other things to talk about, but I just wanted to start with this because I wanted to explain, well, where I've been for the last goodness knows how long, and why I haven't been able to just communicate with you guys like I used to be. I simply do not have the capacity, but I think what's changed now is I'm no longer... I'm feeling bad about it, but I'm not feeling mad at myself, if that even makes any sense. I'm trying to give myself a bit of a break and be like, well, bitch, you lost your progesterone and you lost your mind, and well, you know, that's not all entirely your fault, but you're working to get it back together. So we're waiting for these blood test results. What I'm going to do on next week's show, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I have been taking that have actually helped me, because when I started on this not feeling okay journey, things got really, really bad. Things were very, very dark. And there were a couple of things I started taking and doing that just genuinely made a difference and probably saved my life. But like I said, this last Mercury retrograde just pushed me way back. It's almost like I was back at the beginning. Everything I was doing and taking wasn't fucking helping. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes, you know, everything happens for a reason. I feel like that actually happened to push me to go to the doctors, because you know, I needed some fucking help, and I had no idea about this wild yam. And even if they won't prescribe it, I will go, you can actually buy it. Obviously you wouldn't know how much to take, and it would be, you know, a little bit of trial and error, but you can buy this shit on Amazon. Like, I'll leave a link for the stuff I found, but yeah, you can get this. And actually some of you may have even heard of it, because I was speaking to somebody else and she was like, oh, I use wild yam cream for perimenopause. It's like, it's an actual thing. Again, I've never heard of it. So I guess this is just going to be about that, and next week I'm going to just share some of the stuff that I've been taking that been keeping me sane, and some of the other stuff that I take that I just quite frankly keeps me alive. Keeps me alive. Anyway, I am going to go. I don't even know what time it is or how long this has been going. I meant to check the timer. I feel like I'm going to get better at this as time goes along. I would say sorry for the state of me, but as we've established, symptom number fucking 5 is hot flashes, yeah, and sweat. So this is just how I look now. It's just how I fucking look. But I just want to say thank you for listening. This is Tamara Talks, by the way. I'm just going to call it that because, like I said, we're gonna be talking about all sorts of things. And if you've got anything you want me to talk about, if there's anything that's bothering you or anything, I don't know, you think we should be talking about, please send me a DM. Let's talk about this shit together. Because one thing I do know, this stuff's going to be a lot easier to navigate if we actually do it together. Because, yeah, I think it's going to take a village to get through this. Anyway, I love you all. I was going to say follow if you're not already, but this isn't fucking Instagram. This is YouTube, actually, probably, and my podcast. So, I don't know, like it, share it, tell a friend, send it to your nan. Maybe she's bored and she wants something to listen to. Maybe she's done being through the perimenopause and she can offer us some sort of advice. In fact, actually, I'm getting my own grams on the show, so we'll talk to her about that. But there is lots to come. But yeah, just thank you for listening. And those of you who've come over from Instagram, thank you for being my Instagram. Like, honestly, I know all of you will say I have helped you, but believe me, that has been reciprocated. Like, you have all helped me more than you will ever know. Anyway, I'm going to go before I start getting emotional and start crying, because, you know, that's like symptom number 5,000 of the fucking perimenopause. Anyway, do you think Nando's would sponsor this if I say perimenopause? Maybe they might. Anyway, I'm going. I love you guys so much. I will speak to you soon, and I'll see you next week. Mwah.